She looked me dead in the eyes. At our own dinner table, in front of her sister, in front of her brother-in-law, and she said, calm as ever, obey me, or forget about intimacy. Not angry, not emotional, not even loud, just policy. And everyone thought I'd swallow it, like I always did. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I laughed. And in that laugh, something ended that she never saw coming. Before we go any further, if you've ever felt cornered in your own relationship, if you've ever been underestimated, if you've ever swallowed your pride just to keep the peace, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Not for me, for you. Because what happened next isn't about revenge. It's about what happens when a man stops negotiating for basic respect. Now listen closely. It was a Friday night, the kind of Friday that's supposed to feel safe. Same dining room, same buzzing overhead light that flickered if you stared at it too long. Same plates we'd owned for years, one chipped at the edge like it had survived too many quiet battles. The air smelled like overcooked chicken and lemon cleaner. Normal, too normal. Rachel sat across from me, arms folded, posture straight, chin lifted just slightly. That pose, her authority pose, control wrapped in calm. Her sister Laura was at the table, scrolling her phone. Mark sat in the next room, pretending to watch a muted game. Everyone present, no one involved. Rachel didn't yell. She never needed to. She had perfected the quiet strike. If you want things to go back to normal, she said, eyes locked on mine, you need to start listening to me. I'm done asking. I looked down at my fork. The metal felt cold. Listening how? I asked. She leaned back. A small smile touched the corner of her mouth. You know exactly how. Respect. Cooperation. Do what I say. Otherwise, don't expect affection. Silence. Laura looked up. Mark shifted. Nobody laughed. Nobody defended me either. And that's the thing about silence. Sometimes it feels louder than shouting. Here's what nobody saw. That moment wasn't random. It was the final brick in a wall built over years. Years of small corrections. Why would you say that? You're being dramatic. You always overreact. Can't you just let it go? I became the reasonable one. The peacemaker. The guy who cracked jokes to ease tension. The one who apologized even when he wasn't sure what he did wrong. At first, it felt mature. Then it became habit. Then it became survival. I learned how to soften myself. How to anticipate her moods. How to adjust my tone before speaking. I didn't notice when I stopped being equal. I just noticed that peace required effort. And intimacy? It became currency. Conditional. Reward-based. Negotiated. And somewhere along the way, I forgot what it felt like to be wanted without earning it. But that night, the way she said it, so certain, so rehearsed, that wasn't frustration. That was policy. And suddenly, everything slowed down. No heat. No panique. Just clarity. Like stepping outside after a storm and realizing the air is still. So I laughed. Not bitter. Not nervous. A real laugh. Unfiltered. It slipped out before I could stop it. Rachel froze. Her eyes widened for half a second before narrowing. What's so funny, Daniel? I set my fork down carefully. That, I said, still smiling, was your best move? Her face hardened. Excuse me? I leaned back. Calm. Keep it, I said. All of it. Forever. Laura's mouth opened. Mark stood halfway. Rachel stared at me like she was waiting for the punchline. You don't mean that, she said. You just trying to get a reaction? I didn't respond. I stood, grabbed my phone, and walked out. No slammed door. No speech. Just quiet footsteps down the hall. Behind me, her voice sharpened. Daniel, don't do this. But I already had the guest room light on. And for the first time in years, I felt relief. Not fear of losing her. Relief from holding on. I woke before the alarm. Not because of noise. Because my head felt clear. No taitnis. No internal script rehearsing apologies. The house felt different. Or maybe I did. Rachel was at the kitchen table when I walked in. Coffee mug in both hands. Posture rigid. So she said, are you done with your little performance? I poured coffee. Sat down. Took a sip. Yes, I said calmly. I am. She blinked. That wasn't the answer she expected. Good. Then we need to talk about last night. I shook my head. No, we don't. Her chair scraped. You don't get to walk away and pretend nothing happened. I'm not pretending, I said. I just don't have anything to add. For years, our arguments followed a script. She pushed. I resisted. She escalated. I folded. Peace restored. This time, the script ended early. I'm not ignoring you, I told her at the doorway. I'm just not engaging. And that's when something shifted. I stopped reacting. Short responses. Neutral tone. No edge. No words. She hated it. First came eye rolls. Then dramatic sighs. Then testing questions. You think this is normal? She snapped one night. I think it's peaceful, I replied. You're punishing me. If this is punishment, I said softly, I should have started years ago. Her jaw tightened. Because indifference is terrifying to someone used to control. The change didn't come loudly. It crept in. I claimed the guest room. Lights out early. No late night overthinking. I joined a gym. Old iron. Concrete floors. The first workout burned. It felt honest. I welcomed the pain. At least this discomfort had rules. I started dressing better. Not to impress. To respect myself. I threw out clothes that carried compromise in their fabric. Got a proper haircut. Looked in the mirror longer. And didn't look away. I reconnected with friends I drifted from. Said yes to invitations. And every time I stepped outside, the air felt lighter. That's when Rachel cracked. Accidental brushes in the hallway. Standing too close. Lingering at my door. You're barely home anymore, she said one morning. I'm home plenty. Doing what? Living. The word hit her harder than I expected. Then came effort. Sudden affection. Laughter. Soft tone. I miss you, she said one evening. I studied her like a stranger. You miss me? She nodded. Reached for my arm. I let her hand rest there for a moment, then gently moved it away and walked out. One afternoon, I came home. She was at the dining table, hands folded, the house silent. Can we talk? She asked. He said. I don't know what's happening between us, she said. You don't. I don't want to live like strangers. This isn't a fight, I said. It's distance. We can fix it. There it was. Fix. Fix what? I asked. Us. I held out my hand. Don't. She froze. You want honesty? I asked. She nodded too quickly. I don't want this anymore. The words were clean. No anger. No venom. Just truth. You're giving up? She whispered. No, I said. I'm choosing myself. And then I picked up my phone. I'd like to schedule a consultation with a divorce attorney. The color drained from her face. Daniel, you can't be serious. I am. That's when she shattered. Tears. Pleading. Promises. Change. Effort. Understanding. But desperation isn't transformation. And timing matters. It's too late, I said quietly. The days were chaotic. Anger. Victimhood. Blame. None of it moved me. I packed quietly. This isn't fair, she whispered. You're walking away like I meant nothing. I looked at her. I'm walking away because I finally realized I meant nothing. And I left. No slam door. Just space ahead of me. Freedom didn't explode. It unfolded. A small apartment. Open windows. Silence that belonged to me. I slept deeply. Ate what I liked. Spoke without rehearsing. And something settled inside me. Not ego. Not revenge. Presence. When the divorce finalized, it was quiet. Signatures. Brief exchange. End. I stepped outside into afternoon light and realized I didn't feel like a victim. I felt like a man who stopped negotiating his worth. Here's what I learned. Self-respect doesn't disappear overnight. It erodes. In jokes you swallow. In apologies you overuse. In intimacy you earn instead of share. Silence, when chosen, is louder than any argument. Walking away isn't always quitting. Sometimes, it's finally standing up. If this story hit close to home, if you've ever felt quietly diminished in your own marriage, smash that like button. Subscribe for more real relationship stories. And tell me in the comments, was I right to walk away? Or should I have stayed and fought harder? Because sometimes the most powerful debate is the one you end by refusing to participate. And I never looked back.